Hey everybody, Danny Maude here. Thanks for joining us. Is there a tip that could improve every aspect of your game? It sounds just outrageous, doesn't it? And very clickbaity. But you know what? A recent student of mine, Aaron, comes to see me and he's struggling with his driver and his irons, and he's basically lost a lot of distance, getting a bit of a cut, and his strike was pretty average. But we made one tiny change, and it's a change that I see needed for so many golfers that worked unbelievably well in literally just 20 minutes. Because he only had an hour, we then went to his chipping. We saw exactly the same mistake he was making with his driver and his irons in his chipping. He was thinning him over the green because it's one mistake. We put it into his chipping. Unbelievably worked. The same thing was happening to his putting. We put it into there, and it was just unbelievable how one simple change could thread all the way through his game. I want to share with you exactly what that is, because you know what? I think it's a common problem, and I think it could help you too. Now, before I get into the video, look, if you're new to the channel, it's one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing. Just press that little bell button, next subscribe button, you get notified every time I release a video just like this one. Plus, I always put a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below, so you never have to remember a thing. Okay, great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to first of all focus on your iron and your driver swing. Then we're going to show you how this one change can improve your chipping and your putting too. So let's get stuck in. The first thing I did with Aaron, super simple, that's the only thing I did really, to be fair, was we got him to appreciate the relationship between the body and the club head, and more importantly, how by allowing the club to fall to the ground, his body needed to oppose or resist that force. I'll just repeat that again. The club falls to the ground, your body resists that force. He wasn't opposing it. Let me explain. So what Aaron would do is this. If you slice it, you might do the same. Aaron would literally do this. The club would come down, his body would go down with it. It wouldn't oppose it. It would then go with the club. He would then come over the top. He would be heaving it, trying to follow through. He even said, Danny, I really struggled to follow through. So he was trying to follow through. Compare that to this. The better players, they let the club flow freely. They throw it this way, outwards, and their bodies don't go with the club. They oppose it. They resist it. They go in the opposite direction. This is huge. And it's one of the biggest skills that you need to learn as a golfer to get this lovely, natural, effortless motion. So you see it with kids. Kids naturally stand up to a golf ball. They swing, and nearly every young child, does this almost. When they swing through and that club falls down, this mass is falling so fast, kids almost jump off the ground. Why? Because if this is heavy for them. When that club falls, their body's resisting that momentum going that way by going this way. That is how they control the club, and it's also how they can generate the speed, all right? So, what do you need to do to make this work? Simply what you're going to have to do is you have to build that relationship between you and the club. Stage one, soften the arm off, allow the club to fall to the ground, literally fall to the ground. Notice this, you don't let it fall, you will move the club with your chest and your torso at the ball, again moving with it. Allow the club to fall to the ground. Then, watch this. Just very subtly, and if you want to grab a club to do this with me, pause the video, just literally allow the club to fall, and watch this. I'm going to exaggerate for camera. I'm going to feel on my body, as my body pushes up, look, the club will actually accelerate. Now, you're seeing me doing this exaggerated on camera. Now, the first thing, Aaron says, well, surely, Dan, if I keep moving up and down, that's going to affect my strike. I said, Aaron, it's only a feeling. Because what actually happens is this, you have a force going down. If you don't resist it, you will go with it. This is what keeps people fatting it or chicken wing it. When you push up, all you're doing, you feel like you're going up, but you're just resisting that force. So actually, you stabilize the club. And from this angle here, from this camera, watch this. As I push up, not only am I able to accelerate the club much faster, look at how it's able to keep this position here at impact, giving it a very, very strong position. Now, this move works exactly the same with driver. You can just a little drill here if you want to kind of feel this indoors, you haven't got a club, you haven't got space, grab a towel, wet it on one side, split your hands like this, make a movement here going backwards here, and then all I do is this, look. Just literally oppose the force and fire. Notice this, I am not turning, I'm not pushing my body, I am firing it. All right, it is super, super simple. With a little bit of practice, Aaron got this pretty quickly in literally 20 minutes. The only thing that used to happen through the session, he kept falling back into getting near the ball. He started to get a bit tighter. So all I did, we went back to the simple exercise of literally letting the club fall, drop, straight down to the ball, not forwards. Everyone's eager to go towards the target, follow through. The follow through happens naturally as momentum takes you through the impact area, all right? Now let's see how we took this simple tip and transferred it to his chipping. Okay, let's show you how we applied it to Aaron's chipping too, because it was unbelievable. So Aaron got around the greens, he said, look, Danny, off the short grass, I'm not too bad, I still mess up, but anywhere in any kind of thick stuff here, and I just can't play. And he said, Danny, I've been watching your videos, I do this grip where you tell us to kind of get the club very vertical and up the lifeline. So I said, I want you to do that actually in this session, to get the club very vertical here, up the lifeline, then grip it, and then I do this. And I feel like it's all good, but can you see there? It's too controlled. The arc is too shallow. So the problem is that's going to work on good lies, but this arc here is too shallow, and what's going to happen? It's going to catch all the rough behind the ball and it's going to fat it. What he's got to do is allow the club to relax a little bit here so the mass of the club goes up and then is allowed to fall down. But he wasn't doing that, and that's why he could get away with it on half decent lies, but anywhere around the greens, no chance whatsoever. So let's show you what we did. So I needed him here, just another thing there is, look, when you allow the club to do like this, the club head doesn't travel fast enough to get through the rough. When you let the mass of the club go up and then fall down, it's got some momentum to literally drive through the rough effortlessly, right? So I've got a 60-degree wedge here, and all we're going to do is show you how we got him effortlessly to pop that ball airborne. Now, I got him here to allow the mass to fall forward, not, look at my hands, drive forward. Very, very important. Drop, so look at my hands, it's almost finishing here, not drive. Let's have a look at this in action. So I got him initially just to do it one-handed. Feel the club going up and then just falling down onto that golf ball. Nothing more than that, just literally fall on the ball. Look how naturally the ball just pops up in the air. Now I got him to do that once or twice, because obviously every so often, and I put in a horrible lie here, every so often he would get a bit tight, wouldn't trust it, but once he started to trust it, these balls kept popping up one-handed. Do the same now with his lead hand. Let it relax, and all you're doing, you try to feel what both hands need to do when you finally put them both together. Allow the club to up, fall down on that ball, not look, drive forward. So let's have another look at this. Fall down on that ball. Look how it naturally just pops up. Now, as you're doing this, as I said, we need to, I'm going to put in some horrible lies for you, so I'm not cheating here. So as you're doing this, you need to oppose that force, because he was worried. He said, Danny, if you just let it fall down to the ground, you're going to fat it. But he didn't fat it, because if you oppose the force, look what happens. When the mass falls down, if you're opposing it with your body, the club does this. So as the club comes down on the ball, look, as you go up and oppose it, the bounce starts to work. This is blunt. This means you can't fat it, right? Look at this. So what I did now is it's a very subtle version of the full swing. You let the club fall, and look how this is coming up. The lead shoulder's coming up. I'm opposing the force going down by me gently going up. Okay, we actually got him to do that one-handed a few times, then got the second hand in. He enjoyed the drill so much that when we put the second hand in, he basically did this. He kind of swung back and then literally let go, because he loved the feeling so much of that there. And that started to work, and he thought, well, I might just stay with that. I said, you do whatever feels natural to you. But the key is this, is that he never wanted to drive. I said, stop the drive. Once he get it, it was super, super easy. What we did do to kind of, when the second hand in, to kind of really enhance this a bit more, because it was thick rough, well, I said, look, sometimes you might get some tension. So what you can do is to get rid of that tension on a golf course, take your little fingers off on both hands. Take your thumb off of the bottom hand too. So look at this, little fingers, and my index finger of my bottom hand are off the club. Now all I'm going to do now is exactly the same principle here. I'm going to let the club fall up and fall down, and I'm going to pose that force. I'm not going to stay down, head down, all that kind of stuff. That's just going to get you fatting it. I'm going to let the club just fall down. Gripping the club like this basically means it's very, very light and helps you to truly let the club just fall, look, on that ball, and just let it pop up. Super, super simple. Let's show you now what we did with his putting. Almost the same thing, you wouldn't believe it. Okay, so the putting was super funny because he didn't think, how could this really apply to putting? So I said, well, just putt for me. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure it all spreads through your game, this. So he stepped up to his putt and kind of normal, very stiff with the arms, very stiff with the wrists, and had this long, quite stiff stroke with not really any momentum, and it wasn't quite as bad as that, but the ball didn't get up to the hole. So I said, look, same principle here. What you're going to need to do is look at this. You need to let the club just literally flow. And he goes, but Danny, that looks super wristy. I said, yeah, it looks wristy at the moment, but watch, when your body starts to oppose this, now what do you see with the best players? They are rocking their bodies backwards and forwards. They're opposing this force, and therefore it now doesn't look wristy anymore. What you have instead is, look, the flowing putter, so my wrist is passive. Now without the body opposing it, it will look wristy. But watch, as I allow my body to oppose this force and go with it and let it swing, suddenly now it's nowhere near as wristy. Add my lead hand in, do exactly the same thing, look. Backwards and forwards. Doesn't look wristy anymore, does it? But you know what was funny? Is he said, Danny, it feels really wristy. I put him on camera and he was like, unbelievable. He says he can't believe how organized and controlled it still looked. Yet the feeling for him was it was wristy. Why? Because what he's doing is he's literally allowing the putters to swing freely and then opposing that force with the body. There is no point buying expensive putters if you don't let the mass and the balance of them work. So that's nothing more complicated than that. Sometimes what you can do to kind of direct this, if you want, grab a couple of T-pegs, set your putter up, put another T-peg inside. This can help if you want to kind of help with some of the direction, but the reality is you don't necessarily need it. Do a few swings, let the putter just swing through like this. Now you've got some momentum, get that sensation, bring in the second hand, feel that flow, and bit by bit, it's a bit of dew on the greens at the moment, bit by bit you'll start to have the consistency and flow that all the best players have, and more importantly, when you feel momentum, you feel distance control. You start to tighten everything up. Imagine this. You can't get any flow when you do that, right? So in summary, just imagine this. If you throw a ball, if you stiffen up your arm, your body's going to have to be forced to do all of the work for you. Instead, your arm is relaxed. Your body slings the arm, it catapults it, it opposes it. As your arm goes this way, your body goes this way. This is what creates the speed and the control. It spreads to every single part of your game, to the chipping, allowing it to fall, not just to fall, but then to oppose. This is what's going to help. And again with putting, same principle. You allow the putter to swing and you oppose the force. People then have heard about rocking the shoulders. They rock the shoulders, but they're still stiff as a board. The rocking the shoulders is the body opposing the momentum of that putter. Hope that helps. If it does, give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with somebody who you think could help. This one for me is one of those game changer exercises that if you do and you really work on, it can super help your entire game, not just your driving, your chipping, everything. All right, so remember, there's a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below, so you never have to remember a thing. And of course, look, if this was one of your first videos, come and join the community by pressing that subscribe button and the bell. But until next week, have a great golfing week.